market update. My name is, I think I already said this. My name is Alejandro Zambrano, yes. And let's take a look at the markets. We do definitely have a bit of activity today, and cryptos had a very good morning, or good night actually, and the morning is not as good as we're starting to see some people booking profits. But a bit disturbing as well, which we're going to talk about, is the jump in coronavirus cases. So we're going to talk about that as well. They changed the way they actually measure the people that are confirmed with the disease, and that's why we're having this significant growth. There's apparently 60,000 people having this disease, and London had its first case confirmed yesterday. So we're going to talk about that as well. Before we start though, as always, I need to stress the trading financial markets unfortunately is high risk, and we may lose all of our invested money. Now, obviously, I'm here to hopefully help you avoid that and hopefully make some money. Myself, when in my own trading, I'm a profitable trader, and hopefully can transfer some of my skills and knowledge to you guys. Okay, we'll begin, and we're going to begin with the euro. So the euro, let's actually switch things here. We're going to begin with a bit of the macro view first. Let's talk a bit about the coronavirus, okay? So we have this, which is the a massive jump from 44.7 thousand cases to 59.8. That's a huge growth. And I think they now show the daily increase. It was a daily increase of 15,000 new confirmed people. You can clearly see here how we had a jump here on the 4th of February, but then after that, the number started to declining. Now, this is the number of people that actually, the actual absolute number of people, okay? And the percentage changes are more important. And we do know from pretty much the 4th of February, the markets or the growth rate in coronavirus actually stabilized, and around the same time, so crude going upwards, and we also saw the Shanghai stock market going upwards. And we're going to look at those in a few minutes. But gold, the crude is down now with 1.5%, and you can see here how it's testing, but it's still not below its February 4th low. And obviously, if they change the system now and we start to see the growth rate picking up again, then that could be challenging. So the reading here we have for the coronavirus is for yesterday. The current reading is at 60. So compared with just yesterday, it's not a huge percentage change, and that's what's going to be interesting. We also know from the beginning, if you just looked at the images, that there was a lot of people that there were so many, the hospital was so overwhelmed, so they didn't actually have time to actually help everyone. So let's see how this develops, but it could potentially develop into more of a critical thing as well, which is a bit concerning, is the fact that you have I think it's a city in Vietnam with about 10,000 people that have been quarantined. As for in other locations, there's about 525 confirmed cases for now that we're working with. So it's not huge, but obviously it's increasing quite a bit. Okay, so for crude, as we were talking about, and then we'll talk about stock markets, and then we cover currencies. For crude markets, it's quite straightforward. You do have this big rectangle, and the market did break out in what looked like a false move. The market is now going down again. But remember, when the news broke about the coronavirus, crude oil prices pretty much slid by 15.7%. So the question is if the market needs to collapse much more. And if you look at it from the yearly high, the market is down with 25%. So that's quite a steep decline. So again, as long as you trade about 50 or 48.93, which is this level here, then I think this market could bottom out and go upwards. On the other hand, if we trade below it, we'll probably have the break from this big rectangle, and that target is 37.29. So there's going to be very interesting times here in crude oil prices going forward. As for stock markets, this is the German DAX. So the stock markets have reacted on it, but not too much. Yesterday in the German DAX, we did breach the upside. Now we're going down a bit. And I think if we go down a little bit more, I think some people gonna probably look to get involved around between 13,602 and 13,420. As for the S&P 500, so we talked about buying here a few days ago. That went really well. And the last trade idea I shared with you guys was to buy from 33,300 and 3,338, which is down here. The market's coming down now, so maybe that's gonna potentially generate a signal later today or so, maybe tomorrow. As for gold prices, we're still dealing with a nice ascending triangle. You have the break here. You see, you have this high here and high here. So that's 1593-ish, 1594. Then you got this upward sloping trend line. Difference between this point and this point is about $50, and that is the target, the potential gain we could see on a break to the upside. So that I'm looking for that breakout. The alternative is just to buy and dip here at lower levels. As for the dollar yen is the most sensitive to the latest news about the coronavirus. And the market is testing support, and I said yesterday, if you're really bullish, then around this level is where you could be looking at to get involved, as the trend the price did find some support at 109.49. The alternative is we take out the high. And you got your euro. So the euro continued to slide, and I was hoping for a bit of a bounce yesterday so we could sell at higher levels, but it didn't. Instead it went lower and traded to a new below the 2019 low. I just took some fib from the very high to the very low, around the first fib or so, 1950. I think that would be the best spot, 1950. Maybe from there, looking to reestablish a bearish view, target the downside. As you know, we're dealing with a big head and shoulders, a big head, left, right shoulder. That trend line goes here. So that is the breakout. And then we could probably go all the way down to 107.37. GBP versus the USD is definitely challenging. So the rectangle breakout is still in play. You got this level here, and the trend is still bearish below 130.13, but it's not really going much lower, which is a warning sign. And as we talked about cryptos. So most of the action has not been in the actual in Bitcoin itself. Obviously, Bitcoin is up quite a lot. Since we started to focus more on it, the market has risen by 27%. So far now it's up with 23%. And we still have, I think, a few more days, maybe weeks to go until we reach this target, which is 11,680. So I still think there's more to the upside here. And what we're seeing now is that we had a good move in the alt market, altcoins, overnight. I'll show you that in a minute. But then you have a bit of a pullback in those markets. And Bitcoin is coming down as well. It's a Bitcoin here pretty much reached the first fib, and almost actually, and then went upwards. And then here it reached also the first fib. So it's doing these very, very shallow pullbacks. Eventually what happens, if you start to do these shallow pullbacks, eventually you will collapse by your own weight, unfortunately. And we're going lower now. Is this it? Probably not. I don't think so. I think we do have a bit more power to go up here. And if you're looking to get involved, maybe like 99, 97 or so. As long as trade above 95.01, then the very short-term trend is going to be bullish. Now about the altcoins, let's actually take a look. This is Litecoin. So actually, let's load something. This is ADA. This is something I've been holding on to. So ADA here, a bit quiet. So we reached these levels at 8 p.m. London time yesterday, and then from 2 a.m. the market added 4.87%. But now as London opened and Europe started trading, the market lost 7. So from its high, this market at one point was down with 11%. But the overall sort of system and push here is still there. I actually bought it down here at 4.2 cents. And the way I look at it, I mean, if I just put fibs on this, You can see that we almost reached the 61.8% correction level. So that's a good sign that it's time to book profits. I have booked a little bit of profits, but this is probably time to exit everything. And I'm also holding on to EOS, and we did a 50% move here, starting to move down a bit as well. So I bought down here. Maybe I should be booking profits, and probably should. But if we look at Bitcoin, if you think how the market looks at Bitcoin and uses Bitcoin as a reference to be bullish or bearish, because about 64% of all the market cap is in Bitcoin. And here, you're definitely dealing with an uptrend, but it's not as aggressive as in the altcoins. And I think here, we can probably go up a bit more. And around this level here, Bitcoin is going to have its real struggle. It either gets rejected here, it will go down to 8,000, 7,000. Actually, might even go lower because we're dealing with a big triangle. So maybe we could technically go down to 4,000 again. And on the other hand, if we take this out, we can rally much, much higher. So what I'm doing in my head is that I'm going to try to keep this for a few more weeks. Hopefully we'll be up here. And at that point, most likely the altcoins are even going to be higher. So in the case of my ADA, maybe we'll be at, I don't know, 8 cents per coin. If we're really lucky. And then that will be it. What's also interesting is that you have other stuff here. So you have this is Ripple, which I showed you guys in the past as well. We're starting to take out these important levels as well. So we're starting to see the breakdown in some cases of the big picture. And if you look at the total market cap doesn't have the same problems as Bitcoin. So this is total market cap. This is just the value of the crypto markets in billions of dollars right now. And you can see that we're still in that uptrend. Right now, the market is valued at $291 billion. And you have this massive triangle. This is no log on this chart, by the way. And firstly, you have this little downwards channel wedge breakout. But more importantly, you technically here, and we actually breached, let's clean this up actually, we actually breached this triangle. Now triangle are notoriously hard to trade, okay? They are notoriously hard to trade. So I wouldn't be betting the farm on this one. In fact, I'm already long, so I don't really care too much, but I wouldn't be buying and get super enthusiastic here because of just this pattern. But it does tell us that maybe we can go upwards with another 169%. But I think probably better to watch Bitcoin for that. So are there any fresh opportunities in the markets right now in cryptos? Well, one of the ideas we talked about in the past, and I shared with you guys as well, is Litecoin. You got your head, left, and right shoulder, and then you have the break here and talked about buying here, right? You do have a bit of an uptrend. So if you focus on something like 71.53, then the trend is bullish here, and you could treat this like anything else, like any of the other markets, where you buy dips and stuff like that. It's just that you would need to use a 4-hour or 1-hour chart to identify the levels. Just be careful there because they will sometimes spike, and you'll have a slide of 10% like that. And if you're trading with margin, you can actually end up losing quite a bit of money. Whereas if you trade with a wallet, then if you have this spike and then the market goes back up, it doesn't really matter. Okay, let's see if you guys have any questions. So we have True Inventions. He says, hi guys, how about dollar CAD and how about Aussie dollar? So we're going to answer one of those questions, and we're going to answer the first one, which is the dollar CAD, which I find interesting. So this is the dollar CAD. So Canadian non-farm payrolls, so labor market report was okay. The US one was also good. But as you know, I have a bullish view on crude oil, and if crude oil goes up, the Canadian dollar should gain a bit as well. So you have this big pitchfork, and this pitchfork suggested that we should be bearish from 133. So at that point, one had the option to sell at 133 with maybe a stop loss at 133.50 or so, or one could wait for the short-term trend to turn around. And that's what I think happened. So you can see here when the market was trading sideways and then it traded lower. There's another episode, market trades sideways and then trade lower. This looked like the beginning of it, as we're trading sideways and then trading lower. Of course, we haven't seen too much of the momentum. and we haven't seen too much follow through. And I think this can go up a little bit more, but as long as you're below 33.46, then this trend is going to be bearish, and we can reach maybe something like 30.50. And with that, guys, we're going to wrap things up. Thank you so much for joining me, Trade Invention. Thank you so much for the questions. Guys, don't forget to click here, and don't forget to hit that like button, which is here. And as well, don't forget to follow us on the YouTube channel here on ATFX. If you do have any questions, as you know, you can always reach out to me via Twitter at AlexFX00. Thanks so much, and see you guys soon. Thank you.